everyone, Luke here. Hope you're doing well. It's Friday evening. It's almost 4th of July here in America. That's basically just American Independence Day. It's a holiday here in America. So yeah, I hope you guys are going to have a good weekend. And you're going to take it easy tomorrow. Rest up your bodies. If you've hopefully been working hard this week. But I was talking with a couple of relatives about this. I want to share this in the video, and that's the concept of intergenerational health. Okay, and this is a very important concept, intergenerational health, because you have to realize that one of the core reasons why the children are in the condition they are in today is because these things have been building for generations. Okay, and you've seen this. I've shared hair tests with you of Ivy, and I've looked at the hair tests of many children. And I can tell you, I've actually tested the hair of older people and the children, and a lot of times the older people are actually healthier, okay? So I tested the hair of my 78-year-old grandfather. His hair test, his oxidation rate was actually more balanced than many of the children that I test, okay? And so I think that it's very hard for the older generation sometimes to understand this. I see a lot of older people that look down on the younger generations because they can see that they're physically weaker. And it's not completely fair because it's not completely their choice. They don't realize that their bodies were born weak, and it's partially the older generation's fault too, because it started with them, so here in America, we've been able to refine food for generations now, right? So our grandparents started eating refined foods, okay, and then their children ate refined foods, and then we have third or fourth generation now where basically we've been living off refined foods, refined carbohydrates, sugars, things like Cheetos and, donuts and all that kind of stuff, right? And it builds up generationally. And if you combine this, you combine the generational processed foods, you combine that with vaccines, you combine that with toxins in the environment, you also combine this with soil degradation. So many people don't realize that the soils that we grow most of our food on now, especially here in America, we've been growing the same crops on the same soil for many years now. If you think of the Midwest, where America grows most of its corn and many of its crops, and what happens is the soil is not properly renourished, and we use fertilizers, and the food, even though it looks good, a lot of it is empty. And it's empty, much emptier than it used to be. It's void of minerals. Even though it looks good and tasty, it's void of minerals, and this affects the bodies in a profound way. And then we also feed that to our livestock, so that the livestock don't carry as many minerals as they used to. So even the meats that we eat are not as nutrient dense as they used to be. So it's important that you realize that. And it's important that you realize that it's a cultural thing, okay? Ancient civilizations and what we call primitive cultures knew this, okay? That's one reason why prenatal care used to be much more important in other civilizations, okay? So, Native Americans and other what we consider primitive cultures, even though in some ways they're much more advanced than we are, and they're knowing of nutrition and health and even spirituality. When a woman was pregnant, they knew that was a time where the woman needed extra nutrients, right? And they would, the tribes, they would have people actually go out and search for foods to bring back to the woman that was pregnant, the special foods that would help nourish the baby. They also knew that women shouldn't have children more often than every 3 to 4 years, because it took 3 to 4 years for the woman to gather more nutrients into her body to produce another healthy baby. And so we've lost a lot of that sort of wisdom, okay? Prenatal care in our society is terrible. I see women where the doctors put them on antidepressants. They don't even tell the women that, if you're taking antidepressants and you ingest antidepressants, your baby's getting dosages of antidepressants, okay? The baby's getting dosages of whatever the mother is taking, okay? So they're not only getting dosages of refined foods and Cheetos and, all this sort of stuff. They're also getting dosages of all the medication that they keep the women on, okay? And many women are antidepressants now, and they're on other things. And so women are taught that you shouldn't drink caffeine, which is, for the most part true, I think. And, you shouldn't, obviously you shouldn't smoke and drink alcohol. But then they let the mother eat cookies and ice cream all day and they let the mother eat any sort of junk food. And then also, a lot of times they're on these prescription pills because the doctors think that the women really need them for whatever reason. And so these women are on things like antidepressants. And, you think being on antidepressants is a good thing for the child? I mean, and the women aren't even aware of it. They're not even, because, the doctor didn't tell them. And people are so brainwashed and dumbed down in our society. They just believe anything the doctors tell them, okay? So it's in a very bad shape. And so healing the earth and our bodies and our children will take generations. And that's one thing that's nice about nutritional balancing science, is because, what's nice about it is that you can build generational health, right? If you have a mother on the program, she gives birth to a child, that child stays on the program, she gives birth to, another child, it builds generational health, and it becomes more of a cultural, societal shift, okay? Because that's really what we need, is a societal shift, so that we can start healing ourselves. There's Ivy in the background. The program really shines with children, okay? And it really shines with prenatal care. The program, I've told you guys this before, the program's actually best at prenatal care, and it's best at healing our children, because the children can just heal much faster. They have a lot more energy to work with, okay? So I want you to look at the things that what I want you to take away from this video is I want you to look at the things that your grandparents ate and your parents ate, and see, and you'll begin to notice this, actually, and you'll actually see the degradation of health a lot of times. You'll look at the older people, and you see their children, and then their children's children, and oftentimes the face shrinks, okay, the jawline gets smaller, so a lot of times the boys become even more effeminate looking through other generations. You see higher cases of autism, ADD, ADHD. You can actually see it in our generations here in America. I see it all the time, just people aren't aware because they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know the signs of what they're looking at. But I see it all the time when I see multi-generational families walking around. I can see it. It's very, very sad. And most people have no idea because they're not aware enough of their surroundings. And if you heal yourself, and you do the pushing down exercise on the program, you will become aware of these things. That's what's so nice about the pushing down exercise, right? It makes you more aware of the truth, right? So you'll see the truth that of how bad a shape the young people are. But I don't want you guys to get too discouraged or anything, right? But so nutritional balancing is a way to reverse this, right? Let's reverse what's been going on here on Earth and here in America. Let's reverse it. Let's make our children stronger and make their children's children even stronger and more spiritual, okay? We can do it, and we can do it together, okay?